Hello. My name is Lindsay. My art identity is Sparklezilla, and I also go by an alter ego, Future Lindsay. I've been doing these interesting makeup slash coffee slash conversations on art on Saturdays, but today is actually Sunday. So this is Studio Sunday instead of Studio Saturday. So I'm gonna and I'll explain that. But I'm gonna try to do some interesting makeup, and I have my coffee, even though it's actually 2:30. But Clint and I had kind of a crazy week. So I let myself kind of, I don't know, have a slow start to my day and not rush it, which is kind of fun to just give yourself that space. But so if anybody wants to sip coffee with me or do makeup with me and talk about art stuff, it could be fun. I'll actually put this on while I get ready just for fun. I have a jumpsuit on, like a spandex jumpsuit on. I actually I feel really productive when I am in like weird spandex jumpsuits. So I've been thinking about sorry, getting my makeup stance. I've been thinking about, so last summer, anybody that knows me knows I'm kind of a Mr. Rogers nerd. Like I really love Mr. Rogers. And I was thinking about how I went to this exhibition last summer with my friend Jamie in Philadelphia in Pittsburgh, because that's where Mr. Rogers is from. And this was an exhibition at the Smithsonian. It had like all these clothes that he would wear, a lot of his original sweaters and stuff that his mom made. But there was this weird jumpsuit there, like full body, almost like a Dickies jumpsuit, like the kind with the zipper in the pockets. And on the tag, it said that was what he wore to run errands. And I love this idea of like, you know, Mr. Rogers, like sweater and pants and little shoes that he would tie, wearing this jumpsuit to go run errands. And so I was in that spirit. So literally, like probably in the car as we were leaving, I made a note that I wanted to make jumpsuits inspired by Mr. Rogers' errand jumpsuit, because I love this idea of like, I love when you can merge everyday life and art ideas. So I love this idea of having like a specific outfit to run errands in that Mr. Rogers did. By the way, I have music in my ears because I've been having a hard time focusing today, and music kind of streamlines me. So hopefully if you hear any of that. Anyways, so I've been thinking about what if I made some funny, I don't know, spandex jumpsuits that are my studio outfits that I wear, because I literally am so productive. So I have my Rebirth like top on, and then I have this jumpsuit that's literally like a full body jumpsuit. So if I just like designed sort of like outfits that were in this zone, that were just studio outfits for when I do these videos, but also just I'm really productive when I feel like, I don't know, like a superhero or something in a spandex outfit. And actually, when Clint and I met and he asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, or, someday, I told him I wanted to be Edna Mode from The Incredibles, because she like designed all those superhero outfits. So I feel like we're coming full circle here. I love when that happens, that I wrote this down like a year ago and it feels like it's finally solidifying. So anyways, TBD, I may design some studio outfits. So like I said, I'm feeling a little unfocused today. It happens, like I said, ADHD. So the coffee is going to help. And when I have music on, that helps. So Clint and I had a family reunion yesterday. And the weekend before that, I was at Clint's house. And the weekend before that, I walked in the Pride Parade. So it's been like a crazy few weekends, and I just haven't been able to really. And I was going to try to do a studio Saturday from Clint's house last week, but his area had a series of storms. I was really convinced it was like the apocalypse or something. Like literally every night there was just like a crazy, crazy storm. And long story short, we didn't have power for like 4 or 5 days. I don't know how people did it in the old times. I mean, thankfully Clint's house stays pretty cold. Not cold, but not like my sister-in-law's house. It was like really hot. And we were survived. Like we were okay. Like we weren't like cold, but we weren't dying either. So just in case, these are the things I use: creamy little moisturizer and out of stock CoverGirl Sensitive Skin foundation, which someday I will replace. When I run out of these, I will find a new sensitive skin foundation. So we didn't have power for like 4 or 5 days, couldn't charge our phones or computers or anything. And so I just was like, you know what? Because I'm always trying to get a million things done. I'm always trying to put pressure on myself to get things done. And I was just like, screw it. I don't know. Like, I just was like, I'm visiting my in-laws and the farm's really beautiful in the summer. So like I did a lot of time. Clint has this pond in between his place and his mom's place. And I spent a lot of time there with my cat, like reading and sipping coffee and like dreaming. And I slept a lot and I read a lot. And it was awesome. And my friend Mandy, I posted a picture on my Instagram, and my friend Mandy was like, "You look so happy." And I was like, that's what sleep does for me. Because I was just letting myself, like, I don't know, soak it up. And it was nice. So yeah, so Pride, and then we were out of town, and then we had this big family reunion yesterday that my parents had been working on. All right, go ahead and say it.
Hey everybody, the sun's out, the tent is up, and we're ready to have a picnic, so come on down.
Good. And you know, we wanted to participate, we wanted to be there. These people like never get together, but it was a whole day thing. Like we got down, we had to pick up my grandma, we got down there in the middle of the day. It's like a 45-minute drive to some property that my parents have, and it was so fun, it was so great. But I knew there wasn't going to be any art making yesterday. And that's been a weird dilemma that I'm having with this being on Saturdays. So the perk of it being on Saturdays, this sort of like hold myself accountable to like all day studio time experiment. People want to do stuff on Saturdays. That's been my problem. Like family parties and all kinds of stuff. Pride. And that was an instance where it was like, I really want to go to Pride and like support everybody. So I just, even though I normally like safeguard this time. And then I was also thinking about like, if it was a job I was being paid for, I would probably ask off work for the family reunion and Pride and going out of town. So it's the same kind of thing. But I listened to this podcast on ADHD a few weeks ago. I felt very seen, very heard. It was from a podcast called Unf Your Brain. And it was a guest coach who does a lot of ADHD podcasting. But they said when you have ADHD, you have to focus on persistence and not consistency. I feel like that was a real light bulb moment for me, because I do have these like perfectionist fantasies where I try to like, I want things to be done under perfect circumstances. And instead this week, I just tried to give myself patience and compassion and be like, okay, I haven't been able to like commit to this studio Saturday, like 3 Saturdays in a row. And I've been actually, ever since I started this Studio Saturday thing, I've been trying to experiment with sort of like grouping my time in general. And so how I've kind of landed on this, and I know this sounds crazy, I've been calling it Adulting Mondays, which is like tasks that make me kind of sick to my stomach. I do all of the, and obviously those days I definitely try to self-sabotage and like procrastinate, but I have been like it, what this has done is given me something to focus on. Like there's always so many things to do. And by like blocking off days to do certain tasks, like today, if I think of something that I need to do that would fall under the adulting category, things that would fall under the adulting category, it would be like jobs I've committed to, or taxes, or grading, even though I like love my students are great and I want them to have like the best, you know, I want to honor the work that they've done by grading fairly. It's still a very tedious task. So those kinds of things fall under Adulting Mondays, but it gives me that focus. Like whenever I'm like not sure what to do, I'm like, oh, I need to go back to like Adulting Mondays. But then like right now, if I think, oh, I need to do this and this, but this isn't that time, then I put it in the list for Adulting Mondays. So it's like giving me like ways to focus. I'm not sure if that's making sense at this point. But then Wednesdays I'm calling writing, learning, and research, because I've been writing short stories about my life and working on a few weird artist books. I guess I should start doing some of this too. Sorry. I just for fun, I'm going to play around with a marker on my face because I'm completely ridiculous. But so this is like a summary of some of my favorite shapes from my shape languages. So I'm going to use that as like inspiration. I'm going to try to doodle on my face like a crazy person. So yeah, I do some writing and art book organization on Wednesdays and learning. And what's cool about that is like one of the Wednesdays I had to drop off some food for my grandma and my family. um, but what I did was when I was in the car, I like picked out podcasts that like focused on learning. Oop, it's hard to use a marker on my face. So again, it became this like focal point. So even though I was like running errands and I wasn't home doing stuff, I was still like letting the sort of grouping influence my choices and direct me that day. So then Fridays, I'm calling jobbing Fridays. So that's like researching grants and residencies and applying to things. Saturdays are studio Saturdays. Sundays, I'm calling cleaning Sundays. But I decided to skip it today and do studio Saturday today. So then Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Wednesday nights, I teach a lot of the day. And so I don't assign anything to those days because some of those days I literally just need to like pass out or like read all day or something. But if I feel up for it, if I have the energy for it, I let any tasks that I want that like it's sort of like a free for all. I can pick one of the days. And since I didn't get to do cleaning today, if I have a free moment one of those days, maybe I will try to clean. I feel like that's good balance. But so what I find is when I make this like clear studio time for myself, everything else in the week is so much better. Like I'm so much happier and more fulfilled because I actually have something that I want to apply to that's due tomorrow. And I felt like I should like skip this. These are lip stands, Sharpies and lip stands. I felt like I was like, oh, you should skip Studio Saturday and just work on this application. And then I was like, you know what? If I do Studio Saturday today and then get up early and work on the application tomorrow, I bet the application will be so much better and I'll have so much more energy because I let myself have the time today to like just dream about art ideas and work on stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna like let myself, or I'm just gonna like make my work a priority and then let that shape the rest of my week. And I had this conversation with a student too. We were talking about budgeting stuff this week. And he was complaining about like not having enough time for the stuff that mattered the most. And I was like, yeah, isn't it interesting? Like, what if we actually just like started with the stuff that mattered the most in our week and then planned around that? Like, why do we always do the other stuff? The stuff we don't want to do, we do that first. I don't know why I'm doing this on my neck. I just was in like a weird playful spirit today and just wanted to doodle on my face. Do you have that? Do you ever just like want to doodle on your face for no reason? Annoyingly, and I'm sure Sharpies are not good for your skin, so don't do this at home. But annoyingly, Sharpies do not last long on my skin. As you can tell, this is not my first rodeo. But since I see Studio Saturdays / today Sunday as like this experimental play space for myself, I let these makeups be like a little bit more fun and different. So some stuff. Okay, so since I haven't had like a full studio day in a few weeks, my list is insane. Totally not doable today. Totally not doable in one day, I should say. But I do. So, you know what I should say though? The day that I walked in Pride, even though I was exhausted, because there's something about sun that just like takes everything out of me. I still worked on the residency videos that day. Like I still digested some process work. And actually that's been watching these videos has been like really filling for me, like really like inspiring me and getting me into that headspace that I had last summer where I was able to dedicate all my time to my work, which was like a dream. So yeah, I was proud of myself that even though I was exhausted and I wasn't able to really like commit to a studio day, I still worked. So I feel like that's what this chunking thing has been about, is like, I'm not getting everything done on my list, and it's been some trial and error, but it is holding me accountable to projects that I've been putting off or not had time for or not been focused enough for. It's been interesting, and I'm just experimenting on it. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on myself. I'm just going to see where it goes. So let's see. I want to work on my New York documentation, my residency documentation. So I'll be editing the video from week 8. And what's interesting is this is I sort of separated my residency into the first half, which went through to an exhibition I had in my studio. And then the second half, which is like very accelerated, as things often are, and culminates with an exhibition on Governor's Island with my roommate, Anissa. So this video will be switching into the second half, which is like very fast paced. Like a lot of amazing people visited me. A lot of crazy things happened. So I'll be working on, I think, like weeks 8 and 9, I think, is what I'm on with the documentation. And then I'll be making my map collages for that time also. And I'll be crocheting my blobs while I do that. Have it handy here so you can see the one I'm working on. I'm actually really into this one. It's just like crazy. So right now I'm edging around the sides. It's not too far from being done, but I'm really into it. So I'll be working on that while I edit these things. And then I have a million things on this list. Like I want to do some research on, well, I've started it. I have these amazing, my shape language with my friend Molly is part of it is research. And we have these research prompts we've been developing together for years, and I use it to guide research. So I had started researching on languages probably a couple months ago. And then I had an interesting conversation with a student this week who also does some work around the idea of language in a different way, in a more conceptual way. I tend to do like a more literal way where I literally have like established languages that I'm sort of trying to make my viewers maybe get some sense of fluency or something. I don't know. But this conversation with the student like reignited my interest in languages. And so I thought it would be fun to dig into that a little bit. I definitely want to do some sewing play. I've been working on some pants for a few weeks, which is awesome because I've been dreaming about them for like a year, and I'm really proud of myself for making them exist. I do a lot of like background process work in my work. So I'm like developing these languages and having meetings with people in the languages. And so I want to like make some appointments with some of the people in my shape languages. I've been wanting to sort of put together a packet that I can give them. It's sort of like a weird questionnaire, that kind of thing. I have a hair shoot coming up with my collaboration with Terry. So I want to brainstorm that. I've been thinking about making some fabric prints because that's like my happy place. I just want to make some fabric prints out of some work. Maybe from the fringe project we did. Yeah, maybe do some design work. So I was thinking about designing some hats and furniture and weird studio seats. Like I just love brainstorming and dreaming and coming up with ideas. Making paper collages from some of the scraps of the paper I've been wearing. I don't know if I'll get to that today, but I just wanted to put it on my list. I need to work on my friend Vesper's shape language, and I also need to put together the shapes for my family shape languages. And then on that note, I've been trying to brainstorm how to bring more non-artists in my life into my art activities. So like I often do worksheets with my family on holidays because I'm a weirdo. So stuff like that. I wanted to brainstorm some of that. Some questions I've had in my work this week. I was thinking about the blobs I crochet and the outfits that I wear every day to sketch ideas. And I've been thinking about how that's something that's always really fueled me as an artist is, these sort of daily alive art thoughts. I wanted to try to brainstorm how I could do more of that. I started dreaming about a show I want to have with Clint where we show off all of our like printed merch. So I was kind of dreaming about what that kind of an installation would look like this week. Clint and I had some talks about different types of impact in the car this week. Like how many people you're reaching and how popular your product is or your art is. Yeah, I've been thinking about materials. I've been brainstorming materials relevant to my work. I've been brainstorming materials, like I wear paper every day. I've been thinking about, is there like a more lasting way to work with paper? Not for this project, but like I like to make like weird products and merch that can connect people to my work. Since my final pieces aren't really saleable, I like having little moments. So I was thinking about making weird little paper jewelry, but I've been thinking about how to make something that might last a little bit longer. That's like I said, I feel a little bit groggy today, and just because it's been a crazy week. And I also just have a lot on my mind that I'm trying to kind of organize. But I have found as I do these studio Saturdays that when I come back to check in at the end, because I've like done all this focused work, I feel like my brain's so much more organized at that point and less scattered and crazy. So maybe I can make more sense of it later. I love just, I don't know. So today's weird doodle makeup is just about play. Could do a little hair brushing. Like I said, if I was going out, I would also throw on like a lot of jewelry, paper. I'd probably do my eyebrows too, but my hair's so long right now that I haven't been messing with my eyebrows as much. But I'm going in this week, so we might have something different the next time I do this. So yeah, I got my studio jumpsuit on, I got my fun makeup play, so here we go. Okay, so I didn't get a ton of the stuff on my list done. Just really struggling with low energy today. But I think it's important that I show up for the studio Sundays. Even if I don't feel good, like I'm still getting some stuff done. And I got the video done for residency weeks 8 and 9. And the program was 12 weeks. So I only have 2 more videos to do. So, and I was working on the map collages that I do for the residency, doing some brainstorming. I had to change out of my jumpsuit because Clint says I have a lid problem. I don't put lids on things. And I went to shake a salad dressing. I was just coated. I was coated with salad dressing. It was so gross. I had to immediately go wash it off. And you can see this is why I don't like putting Sharpie on my face, because it just comes off. That's why I see the stains stay on, Sharpie comes off. Now I'm going to end my studio time early because my mom, her dog jumped out of her car in a parking lot in a Walmart in Dry Ridge, which is like 35 minutes from here. So I guess Clint and I are going to drive down to Dry Ridge and try to find this dog. It's dark. We will see. So this is kind of our life, like try to work in as much art time as possible based on energy levels, shake things without the lids on and get covered in dressing and go help my family with one of their situations. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think these studio days on the weekend really set me up for a more successful week because I'm starting off the week like dreaming. Tonight, the residency video was really about like how the residency was such a great, like I was kind of living my best life. Like I was making art all week and then spending time with friends that would visit me on weekends. It was like my dream life. So I was thinking about like, how could I like cultivate something like that here? And I also talked in great length about how grateful, how that time made me be more grateful for my life at home and appreciate it more. And so I definitely want to honor that thought more now. So yeah, I think watching those videos reinvigorates me. Dreaming about work reinvigorates me. So wish me luck on finding this dog. I wanted to record a morning update because I didn't want to leave everybody hanging on a missing dog. That would be awful. So Clint and I went down to Dry Ridge, which is like halfway to Lexington. It's like a 35-minute drive. And we went everywhere looking for this dog, all around this Walmart parking lot, into a hotel. And then we drove like a couple blocks down the main street to this park. By this point, it was like 11:30 at night. And there was this family with a bunch of young kids playing in this park. It was a well-lit park, but I didn't even think parks were open that late. But in any event, I was like, so we had stopped to ask a few people, and I asked this family, and I was like, has anybody seen a Dalmatian? And this little kid was like, I saw one when I was getting something from my mailbox by the firehouse. And I was like, where's the firehouse? I'm not from around here. And so then, and it did track. It was like the time that the child said that she saw the dog was around the time that he went missing. And it was just like a couple blocks from this Walmart. So we went around that neighborhood, like kind of quietly yelling his name and whispering because we don't want to wake anybody up. So we did not find him last night. My mom decided to get a hotel down there so that she could get up and start looking in the morning. And we all posted like a bunch of posts to social media that he was missing. And Clint and I got home probably like 1 a.m, maybe later. I don't even know. And of course I had to stay up like another 2 hours finishing a book I was into. But this morning, somebody posted to like a Facebook group on missing dogs that they had found Bruno, thank goodness, in Ellesmere, which is like 20 minutes north of Dry Ridge. And he was found in Ellesmere around the time that he went missing. So to us, it seems like he jumped out of, like, the window was open about 6 inches. He's a really skinny Dalmatian. And he's obsessed with my mom. So we think he maybe jumped out the window to follow my mom and then couldn't find her and got like scared, and maybe somebody picked him up. We don't know why they dropped him off in Ellesmere. I don't know. But the moral of this, or the point here is, Bruno has been found and he's okay. And it was amazing. I also wanted to report that I used this stuff to get the rest of the Sharpie off my face, and it worked. You know, I didn't know if it would take, because it's meant for makeup, but it was funny when we were searching. I think the drawing I did on my neck kind of looked like a weird hickey or something, because by this point it was like really faded, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, excuse me, have you seen a Dalmatian? So it was pretty funny. And then also I wanted to report my strategy of like immersing myself in art activity yesterday in order like to have like the emotional energy to do a complex application today. Totally worked. And I have felt really on fire getting this application done. You can see I never even changed out of my pajamas. I just like woke up, went straight to the application. So Studio Sunday this week was a success.